All right, y'all, look, I understand. Look, I understand because y'all looking at me, y'all are looking at both of us right here. Y'all are thinking, hey, 30-10 for the Panthers. This ain't a way to start the season. But luckily for us, it's just a preseason, okay? It's just a preseason. We didn't get everything, Jeff. We didn't get everything, but I'm still excited. You know, football is back. It's in the air. The pollen's gone, the football's here.
Well, the humidity's not gone yet, though.
not yet. But we're getting, we're hoping to get into that football weather a little bit more as we go along. High school's about to come up, college is about to come up, and of course the NFL is about to come up. And we got to talk.
Best time of the year.
It is. We got to talk about these Carolina Panthers. But welcome into the Keep Prowling podcast. I'm your host DJ Beal, and I'm back once again. My guy Jeff Taylor coming back with us to talk about these Carolina Panthers. And after an interesting week, right? Of course we've had.
Let me just real quick stop you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fans who are watching, forgive me for my hat.
I think
it's a new Titans hat. So
they turned the video off once they saw that hat. They said we can't do it anymore. We're just gonna have to listen to this guy.
I forgot we were doing the podcast. Ain't my fault. On we go. Go ahead.
But it's no worries. But now they know what your allegiances lie. But anyway, look, we got to talk about the training camp and also the first preseason game. Because like I said, a lot of people were looking. It's funny. One of my coworkers, he was like, "Hey, it didn't look too good at the end of the day." But I think what we saw from the first team and stuff like that, I think that's the more interesting part. Of course, preseason interesting because you get to see a lot of the depth pieces and stuff like that. I want to know how you guys are feeling out there as we get into this conversation. Y'all join the discussion as well down in the comment section below. But a 30-10 victory for the Browns, which ultimately won't matter in the grand scheme of things. Right. But very, very interesting. There was a lot of storylines going in. Of course, you got Shedeur Sanders because Joe Flacco is 40 years old. And, everybody else in that quarterback room is hurt. There's a lot of buzz around. I heard from a lot of the Browns media guys that there is a lot of buzz around Shedeur, and anytime a new quarterback comes into the room, it's like, hey, this, let's see what this guy's talking about. I personally think, and we will get into the Panthers, but I personally think he could be a steal if Stefanski can coach him up a little bit. They can get those receivers back in that room. We'll see, right? But obviously that's going to take time.
So two things: A, he's injured right now, had an oblique injury. It's only day to day, and that's fine. I'm just going to pull off the gloves here and stuff like that. Okay. Everybody needs to, pump the brakes on Shedeur. Did he play great? He played well, yeah. I was at the game. So, but he played 3 quarters.
Yeah.
You play a series against the starting D. Nobody's really game planning yet. Nobody's seen him play.
That's true.
Everybody pump the brakes. What makes me kind of, nauseous as a Titans fan, I'll just be bluntly honest with Cam Ward, is he played 2 series. Mm-hmm. And him and Calvin Ridley could be scary. But what I'm getting at, though, is he played 2 series. And everybody's like, well, he's 0 for 3 to start and blah, blah. And it's okay, he played 2 series. Shedeur played 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Pump the brakes. Did I see good things? Yes. Yeah. And that's fine, but I think, I agree with Stefanski, great coach and stuff like that, and he's got a lot to get through. And listen, with Shedeur being hurt, Dylan Gabriel's going to get the start in preseason game. Huh?
Might see a little. He just came off the street not long ago, so we'll see.
What if he goes out there and goes, 18 of 20 and throws 3 touchdowns?
Yeah. And you're talking about guys who have a little more NFL level experience than Shedeur would have.
Don't get me wrong. Listen, he's got a lot to, he had everything thrown in front of him. Mm-hmm. Shedeur's coming in, dropping down in the draft, has everything to prove. Everybody, last name. Yeah. It's not going to – but we'll see. But let's roll through the game a little bit. For me, to me the story was Bryce Young. Mm-hmm. And – the way he played the first couple of series.
Yeah.
I think he picked up right where he left off.
Yeah, I think so too. And it was very interesting, and I'm gonna put a pin in the point I'm about to make so we can save it for later. That'll give you guys a chance to think about it too, because I do want to mention Bryce Young, but I want to just put this out there, and we'll talk a little more here in a little bit. But in terms of the defense, I think that's where our biggest question marks are as Panthers guys, Panthers fans. You all out there watching and tuning in as well. We wonder about the defense, but I'm gonna put a pin in that for a second. Let's shift back to Bryce Young. I agree. I think I like, and this is the thing. This is a frustration point, and this is just for some of us media people, not necessarily for you all out there watching, but because you all get to see it from every angle you want to, especially on TV. But going to training camp, I didn't really get a chance to really get to see a lot of the defense,
right?
Which that's especially during joint practices. That's when I was really excited to see. I mean, but I will say, in training camp, it felt like the pass rushers were really aggressive. The interior guys were really aggressive. They got a lot of depth in the interior, and I'm very, very excited about that. But it's also, I think if you're a scoreboard watcher, you're going to be interested about what's up with the defense a little bit too, considering what happened last year. So I'm kind of curious about that. But in terms of Bryce Young, it makes me excited to see him pick up where, kind of like you said, where he left off. I agree with that. I'm curious about Xavier Leggette. I'm curious about T-Mac, because with T-Mac, I think T-Mac looks really good. Footwork looks impeccable, and it looks like he potentially could be a really big player in this offense, maybe even bigger than Xavier Leggette. And I know I've heard people already kind of talk about Leggette looking over his shoulder. That's why he might be being a little bit more aggressive after getting kicked out of the game in the first series. It's just very interesting. I think that's a whole another storyline that we could even talk about. Is there could be pressure on Xavier Leggette because I'm always the guy who says you never can have too many receivers. I'm always going to say that. Probably same thing with tight ends too. You can never have too many pass catchers in this type of league. But a lot of people are pointing, not me, but a lot of people are pointing to the fact that maybe Xavier Leggette could be looking over his shoulder because you're the first round guy. I think Steve Smith was the one that said it. Shout out to that crew. You're looking over your shoulder a little bit at the guy who they drafted in the first round. He's, it's kind of one of those things. If you don't count Travis Hunter, he's the top receiver that's picked. He looks really good. I mean, the dude catches almost everything. He didn't necessarily in the game, but especially when I watched him in practice, he was catching almost everything. And I know you take that thing, take that stuff with a grain of salt, but it just makes me wonder because I've never seen Leggette even get into a scuffle like that, much less anything. I mean, he's always the jolly upbeat guy. So but at the same time, I think, and maybe Steve Smith was trying to make a point. I don't know, but Steve Smith kind of mentioned on the broadcast. He said, not that the pressure may be getting to him, but he was more so saying like, it's nice to see a little bit of aggression from him because he's not that type of guy. So I mean, I don't know. Like I'm curious to see what you think. You were there, so you could see the emotions, hear the emotions, in the stadium. So
being at training camp, we knew the day before that they had gotten into it a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a difference between being aggressive and just being
foolish.
Yeah. And to, throw haymakers like he did. And I mean, they were haymakers.
Yeah.
I mean, he was throwing punches. My concern with XL is a couple of things. A, watching T-Mac in training camp, and then that catch over the shoulder where, Bryce hit him perfect. Mm-hmm. Put it where only he could catch it, and he made that catch on the sidelines. Playing as well as he has and has started to get that connection with Bryce. Sorry, I've lost the other Coger.
Yeah.
Listen, all you did was get thrown out of a game and give another person a chance to step into that role and catch a touchdown pass.
That was my
in the back of the corner, back in the great catch. He had 3 or 4 catches.
Yep, that's where I was. That's it. That was my exact thought.
And the gist is, if you've got you're right. You can never have too many. You can never have too many receivers. I get it, but when you have T-Mac, who I think is proving right now that he could be solid. You've got Thielen, who is just your crafty veteran, and somebody like Jalen Coker, who is like.
He's solid.
I got nothing to lose. I'm gonna come out and ball out.
And he's about as consistent as they come. It feels like.
Look at what he did. So. You better be careful.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't get me wrong, and I know this would not happen, but we ain't set the 53-man roster yet.
Yeah.
And if you go into this game and screw up and not have any, a drop pass or something like that.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting because kind of like you said, I think I think it's Xavier's job to lose and until he doesn't want to lose it anymore.
He's close, though.
Because my thing is, he's a highly drafted guy. You're going to give him a few more chances than you probably would even give a Jalen Coker. But I think that was my pushback to Steve Smith's point. It was a good point. I'm glad he made it. But my pushback to Steve Smith's point was, you need all the reps you can get. Everybody,
absolutely.
Everybody's questioning your hands.
Right.
They're like, everybody I've talked to is like, I don't know if this guy can catch. Everybody I've talked to. And I think the thing about Leggette, the big thing that I need him to do is use this competition as fuel. It's not like, he's going to get opportunities. T-Mac's going to get opportunities. Yep. Coker's going to get opportunities. These tight ends, Jatavion Sanders and these guys are going to get opportunities. So it doesn't matter. The opportunities are going to be there. But this is the perfect time to re-hone in back on your skills.
Yes.
And become what I think you envision him as being. Like I think you feel like I think you see
AJ
crazy
Brown.
potential. Yeah.
I see like AJ Brown.
And I'll be honest, I agree. It's there. The physique is there. The speed is there. And he's got to get the hands there.
I had the blessing of watching him play at South Carolina.
Yeah.
And so, to watch him, come up through the ranks and do that. But, it's all right there in front of you.
Yeah.
And listen, when you say, he's looking over his shoulder, well, name me a player in the NFL who isn't looking over his shoulder.
Yeah.
When you got 53 guys fighting for, when you have a 53-man roster and 80 or 100 guys fighting it out.
Yeah.
You always guys looking over your shoulder. But what bothers me is, you come out, it's game one of the preseason. You want to come out with your first team. You want to move the ball down the field. You want to be successful.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of like what I was.
And it's like you can't do that, my man.
And that's what I was saying, too. I think that's where my frustration was with the situation. If this happens last possession of the first team, into the first quarter, okay. Right? I can understand that.
Right.
But the first drive, and you got a lot to prove yourself.
Yes.
You want to prove a lot yourself, I'm
now,
sure.
With that being said, I don't know, this podcast will be out a little bit later or whatever, but they're, joint practice with the Houston Texans as they get ready for their second preseason game on Saturday. Before we started recording, I was just looking on Twitter, and I don't know if you've seen it yet, but Bryce and XL hooked up for a touchdown on the 11-11.
Okay.
It was a heck of a catch. There were two guys on him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw that or not,
can I make a bold statement?
Yeah.
I don't think Xavier Leggette has a hands problem.
Oh, I don't think so.
I think he may have a hands problem at the NFL level, right? The ball's coming at you faster. These corners are on you tighter.
Well, it's a much different ball game.
There's an adjustment factor there. But we can't sit here and act like Xavier Leggette wasn't probably the best receiver for them last year.
But this is year two.
Yeah.
So
you expect more.
Right.
Yeah.
Although now, but think about it too, is when you've gone through your rookie year and coaches have tapes.
Yeah.
Coaches in the NFL are not morons.
Yeah.
They're going to start figuring out a way to, and now if I'm a head coach of an opposite team, DBs, get in his head.
Yeah.
There was a guy who played for the Titans and now a couple of Cortland Finnegan.
Oh yeah, we all remember.
You remember? Cortland would get in people's heads, and next thing you know, they're 2 minutes in, they're throwing punches.
Hey, you got beat up for it.
But
you got to do what you got to do.
But
you got to do what you got to
do. Because of what happened in the first preseason game against the Browns, you now have to kind of regroup, like you said, go out there and prove everything, but do it with a level head.
Yeah.
And and here's the deal. I don't feel that Coach Canales is the type of coach that would put up without a whole lot.
Yeah.
Or I think XL's on a short leash. Not being cut or anything like that, but you may you're on that short leash where you could be a backup.
Yeah.
You could be 2 or 3 or 4. You could be the fourth receiver on the depth chart easily.
Yeah. You're talking. There's a lot of talk about Jimmy Horn Jr. too.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Two completely different receivers, but when you talk about speed, Jimmy Horn's got it, and we know Xavier Leggette's got it.
Right.
Right. So it's like, it's one of those situations where I think this is a moment where
a defining moment.
It is a defining moment where Leggette can. Truly just push to that next level because let's play with y'all's imagination here. If T-Mac is what we think he is, and let's just say let's say he can do what Xavier Leggette did last year.
Right.
Leggette takes that next step up. Thielen is who Thielen is until proven otherwise.
Right.
And, I mean, you can add in somebody else. It can be
Coker.
Jimmy Horn Jr., it can be Coker. Of course, you got your tight ends too. This offense can be really good.
Absolutely.
This offense can be really good.
I mean, Chuba in the backfield.
Yeah, and I mean that's another one. Chuba and Daddle.
Rico.
Both.
Yeah. I mean, so you've got all the makings of really, a solid. Like, there's no reason, to be honest with you, that couldn't be like a top 10 defense.
Yeah.
I mean, top 10 offense.
And this offensive line should get better.
Yeah,
because they're going to be able to jail. They already
they
looked the part a little bit. So I think the biggest question mark for me, even going into the Texans as well, with all the talent that they have too, that you'll get a chance to see on tape, is this defense, right? Like, I think, like I said, I'm watching the defense and I'm like, they seem aggressive, they seem like they're after it, the emotion's there, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I'm curious about the pass rushing ability. I think the coverage will be, for the most part, pretty good, especially if JC can stay healthy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, last year was, when he's healthy, he's a Pro Bowl guy. We see that. So I think that's going to be another thing, is like this defense and kind of the expectations. I'm curious about you all's expectations for this defense as well. Can they improve, or will they be about the same?
My concern is the speed on defense.
Yeah.
And I'm talking maybe the front seven.
Yeah.
I'm not the secondary, not so much. Just the speed up front, containing, because there were some blown assignments against Shedeur. And the Browns.
Yeah.
Where they didn't contain.
And I mean, Shadeur's not the fastest guy in the world.
No.
Yeah.
And what got me was there were a couple of times that the defensive ends came over to the sidelines after a series.
Yeah.
And they were sucking wind.
Right.
And if Shadeur's not that fast, I'm like.
Yeah. And I mean, I think.
But it's there. I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
I think if they could just. I mean, if you 10-15% better than you were last year.
Yeah.
Then, and how many Panther games, last year came down to the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. And I mean,
so,
the other thing is
that.
too, it's awesome. It's also talking about getting that 10 to 15% better based off of how the end of last season played, because, it's once again day and night. Like, the beginning of the season, the defense was awful.
Right.
Right? The end of the season, they figured out a little bit of something. Right? So that's going to be the biggest thing too, because I think they're deep at the D-line.
I agree.
And I think like that could help in terms of conditioning and stuff like that. But I think it's going to be very interesting, like to see how this defense plays, especially when we go into week 1. I mean, of course, the preseason game as well, just to see a little bit more of them, a little, a couple of different wrinkles and stuff like that as training camp wraps up. But it's just, I'm interested to see if they can build off of what they did at the back half of last year.
Agreed.
Right? Like, I mean, I think some of the most important aspects of the defense is going to be getting pressure on the quarterback, because I just think if they can get some pressure in some form or fashion, it's going to be interesting, especially with Derrick Brown, because we haven't seen this defense with him back in the fold yet, not in real action. So with him back into the fold, I think that's going to help too.
Agreed.
Right? Because, I mean, obviously he's going to take a lot of the reps, right? He's going to be the guy that's going to, going to be mucking it up a little bit. So I think with him, that's going to be – I think him being back is going to be a good addition.
Agreed. I mean, I could tell the difference, I'll go back to, my Titans and stuff. When Jeffrey Simmons isn't on the field, they're a different defense.
Yeah.
You get a guy like him back on the D.
Yeah.
Things perk up a little bit. So, and I think the D, I'm not sure the D ever had a true leader last year.
Right.
Yeah. So if Derrick Brown can come in, stay healthy, and kind of be that captain.
Yeah.
To kind of get him going, the offense. Yeah. I mean, Panther fans have every right to be excited.
Mm-hmm.
Now I hope for the game against Houston, the preseason game, the first O gets a little more, and I think they probably will. Maybe play a quarter, or something like that.
Which, I mean, speaking of day and night from last year, remember we were having that conversation last year about why are you not playing your starters?
Exactly. But now don't get into fights. So I think if they can play a quarter, let them play, let them get a couple drives in. But yeah, I'm curious. I think when early on when we get out of the gate with week 1, it's going to be how's the D?
Yeah, I think so too. And it's, going into Texans game as you guys are hitting that subscribe button, liking if you're on YouTube, favoriting if you're on any of the major podcasting platforms. Look, but it just has me wondering going in, my expectations going into this game, right? My expectations going into this game for the Panthers and what we can expect, because the Texans are a talented team. They probably won't play very many, if any, of their starters anyway. But, we always talk about guys having something to prove, especially in the preseason.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see who feels like they have the most to prove and how they execute on that. Because I think this could show a lot heading into week 1. But also, it gives you some really good tape to see, like, okay,
I think with just
what's focused on.
Yeah, but with the 3 preseason games now, and not 4.
Yeah,
I think the second one is kind of your litmus test for your starting O and your starting D.
Yeah,
because the third one nobody's going to play, most likely.
Yeah.
So and like you said, Houston. I mean, you get a C.J. Stroud. Let's see what you learned off of Shedeur. They're not what I'm getting at though. Yeah. Mobile. Like to throw on the run and stuff like that. What did you learn? What did you take from that?
Yeah.
And if the Texans come out with their starting O, how do you stack up? Especially against, C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
Who obviously took some steps back last year.
Mm-hmm.
But, and like you said, when you've got head coach of the Texans, sorry.
I'm blanking on it too.
Ryans.
Yeah.
Yeah. A defensive-minded guy.
Yeah.
Let's see how that pans out.
Yeah, and especially.
And I think it'll be a big test for the O-line.
Yeah,
because he gets after his guys get after the QB.
Yeah, and like you said, his mind is shifted in that way because he played for the Texans, at linebacker. So I mean, yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how it's gonna go. Like we said before, I want to see improvement by the defense. You'd love to see, even, regardless of who's out there, you'd love to see each level showcase what they got, and you love to see. I think we'd love to flip the script a little bit. Let's go with 30-10 in the Panthers' direction this time. Showcase your defense is good, and showcase that your offense can move the ball. It might not be 30-10, maybe be 21-14, something like that. But
I'm gonna be honest with you, DJ. I don't care about the scores anymore.
Yeah,
I really don't. I used to, and for me it was like, how did Cam Ward come out and play? Mm-hmm. Played 2 series. What do we get out of it?
Yeah.
Do I have reason to be excited? Mm-hmm. The first go out and play. How well do they play?
Yeah.
Because really, you could almost take the first quarter.
Yeah.
And go, what was the end of the first quarter?
Yeah. And how much are you really showing?
Right. And how much are you really showing?
On both ends.
Right. On both ends of the ball and stuff like that. So I think at the end of the day, you kind of go, but in reality, I think this game against the Texans could really go a long way. Yes. And in terms of helping people out, and maybe everybody plays till half. Mm-hmm. Who knows? What bothered me a little bit was the amount of injuries they had in the first week of the preseason.
Yeah. And
how many seasons came to an end for some guys.
Yeah.
That's kind of brutal.
Mm-hmm.
So you walk that fine line of of doing that.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back into the discussion that we had this time last year about playing and not playing.
Right.
It's a slippery slope, because if you get guys injured and you kind of ruin your season, you feel demoralized because of that. But at the same time, it's like you still want to get those reps in.
Yeah, and you want your fans to be kind of like, I don't know about you, but I want fans to be, you want to be excited.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah. But I'm definitely excited going into this Houston Texans game. Anything else you got?
No, I think an interesting thing is going to be, I think, too, how the special teams all pan out. Yeah. Some people who may make the team, who may not make the team.
Yeah.
Hunter Renfrow, I continue to watch him to see how that might pan out.
Mm-hmm.
The kicking job, 2 young men going after the kicking job, not a lot of experience.
Yeah.
But, watching both of them in practice, they both have strong legs. Fitzgerald, I think, is the one kid who played at shoot, I can't remember where he played now. That's my fault. But he, the kid's got a leg.
Yeah.
Not being in game. I would almost rather in the preseason have my special teams get a little more. Get a little more work in. But hey, it's at the end of the day, it's football. Football's back.
Yeah, that's true, and especially too because of the new kickoff rules. That's kind of been
I'm still trying to get used to.
Trying to watch I feel like sometimes that's even more interesting too. Is looking at some of these new different changes that they made and seeing how that affects certain.
Well,
things.
with the new kickoff rule, it's almost been like either all or nothing.
Are they trying to avoid touchbacks? Is that?
Well, yeah.
Or you get penalized a little more.
But now you get the ball the 35?
35, yeah.
With the touchback. So, and most of the ones I've seen where it's landed in that landing zone or whatever, and people have tried to return it, they've either gotten to the 20, or it's been or they run it back for a touchdown.
Well, it's kind of interesting too. We went through this era of football where it was we want no kickoffs, none, zero kickoffs, and now it's we want more kickoffs.
To me, it's. I don't know. I still kind of the more you mess with the game. To me, just go back to the regular kickoff. I don't get it. And I mean, listen, when they're too many people get hurt on kickoffs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. People get hurt every play. The guy could get hurt walking into the stadium. How many people have torn ACLs and it's been non-contact?
Yeah.
So but hey, at the end of the day, football's back. That's all that matters.
Yeah, but it's back, and we're excited. I know you got some cool things coming down the pipeline. You want to mention?
Yeah, we got.
Those?
Well, what don't we have?
Right.
If you're in Charlotte, high school football, the Blitz. Yep. We're a week from tomorrow, a week from Friday. Yeah, high school football starts up. We got the Blitz. We got a new show, Varsity Spotlight, where we're gonna do a lot of high school sports highlights and some cool stories every Friday at 6:30, I think. Yeah. Talking Sports with My Dad, a new show with Jack Taylor and myself, where we kind of talk about sports topics from generational points of view. So a lot going on. Yeah. And it's all good.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So,
but I enjoy doing this the most.
Oh yeah. Oh well, look, I appreciate that. Look, I can't appreciate that enough. Yeah, I can't appreciate that enough. But look, I definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. Look, remember the Keep Prowling podcast is on all major podcasting platforms and on Bahakel Sports, along with Talking Sports with My Dad, and also Varsity Spotlight and all those things. Look, Bahakel Sports, we're cooking. Okay, we're cooking with grease right before the summer ends. Okay, we're cooking with grease, and then we're gonna start going back in the oven. It's gonna get too cold. All right, but look, I definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. Jeff, appreciate you for coming by as always. Always a good time. Always a good time. We'll have him back, and not too long from now because we got to do the way too early predictions. We have to.
Well, yeah, of course. We'll do it for week one.
We have to do it.
You know who's going to the AFC South, though, right?
It's not going to be the Titans. Come on, man. I mean, y'all got too much competition over there.
Who?
There's too much.
The Jags?
Okay, maybe not the Jags.
The Colts?
The Colts? You don't know. I mean,
nope.
Well,
nope.
I forgot. The Colts have Daniel Jones now.
Yeah.
Texans.
Danny Dimes.
Yeah. You never know. You never know.
And if Houston takes a step back?
You never know.
Watch Calvin Ridley and Cam Ward. Ridley and Cam Ward.
The thing is, and just
if we win 5 games, I'll be happy.
Look, the thing is, Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick?
Number 1 overall pick, and has gotten gets zero coverage.
It's
weird, man.
It is weird, but that's the tough part about it, though, because when you're a number 1 overall pick, I mean, I tried my best to get on a pedestal about Caleb Williams and what the situation he was drafted into, and it still didn't work. Yep. So,
if you got Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, Van Jefferson.
I mean, I felt the same way last year, but we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. It'll definitely be a lot of fun. But look, we hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time on the Keep Prowling podcast.